I've been a Windows user for more years than I can even count. I started way back with Windows 95, and since then, I've worked with every single new version, both for my personal stuff and for my job. And, I've been tempted to switch. I've looked at Macs, I've considered Linux as my main platform, but I've always stuck with Windows. It's been my operating system of choice. But I've got to be honest, my loyalty to Windows has really been put to the test over the decades. And that has never been more true than in the last few years. It turns out, I'm not the only one feeling this way. A former Microsoft developer, a guy who actually helped build parts of Windows, recently came out and said it flatly, Windows sucks. And he explained exactly why. His name is Dave Plummer, and he's not just some random critic. He is a former Microsoft programmer who helped create the Windows Task Manager and the Zip Archive tool. In a recent YouTube video, he didn't beat around the bush. His opening line was, "It sucks." But he didn't just leave it at that. He went on to explain his reasoning, and it makes a lot of sense. His core argument is that Windows tries to be everything to everyone. It caters to absolute beginners, seasoned power users, and professional developers, all at the same time. To do that, it takes this overly simple approach, constantly trying to hold your hand or steer you toward other Microsoft apps and services that you don't necessarily want or need. Plummer suggests something brilliant, a professional mode. Think about it. A mode for power users that gets rid of all the hand-holding and just lets you use the operating system the way you want to, not the way Microsoft thinks you should. This isn't a new concept. I use Adobe Photoshop Elements for editing photos, and it offers 3 different modes. There's a quick mode with just the basic tools, a guided mode that walks you through specific tasks, and an advanced mode with everything unlocked. I usually stick to advanced, but sometimes I need help with something new and switch to guided. It's fantastic. Why can't Windows do the same thing? It seems like a no-brainer. But Plummer's complaints go deeper than just the user interface design. He also criticizes Microsoft for turning Windows into less of an operating system and more of a data collection tool that doesn't respect your privacy. He said, if you listen to the gripes that generate real heat today, there are 3 or 4 big buckets. And those buckets are privacy and telemetry, being forced into a Microsoft account, updates that hit you like a SWAT team, and the general feeling that your own desktop has become ad space. Plummer acknowledges that Microsoft needs telemetry data on how people use Windows to improve the OS. That's a fair point. But he believes the company needs to be way more transparent about what it's collecting. He suggests a privacy ledger, which would be a system log that lists every single piece of data being collected, with clear explanations of what it's for and why Microsoft wants it. Imagine having that level of control and understanding over your own device. Then there's the issue of the Microsoft account, or more accurately, the lack of choice. There are definitely good reasons to use a Microsoft account with Windows, but the company basically forces it down your throat. With each new version, they make it harder and harder to find the workarounds to just use a simple local account. It feels like Microsoft is treating us like children, taking away our freedom of choice because it insists it knows what's best for us. As Plummer suggests, why can't there just be a clear, simple screen during setup with 2 options? Continue with a Microsoft account or continue with a local account? No tricks, no dark patterns, no need to be connected to the internet just to see your options. And if you choose a local account, the OS should explain the benefits of a Microsoft account once, and then drop it. Respect the user's decision. Next, he talks about Windows updates. We've all been there. You're in the middle of something important, and suddenly, your computer decides it's time to update and restart, with or without your permission. It's disruptive and shows a lack of respect for the user's workflow. The updates are supposed to help, not hijack your machine at the worst possible moment. And this brings us to what Plummer calls ads, nags, and suggestions. This is where many people feel Microsoft has truly crossed a line. The operating system, the very foundation of your computer experience, feels like a sales channel for all of Microsoft's other products. When the OS suggests you should switch back to their browser right after you've chosen a different one, that's not being helpful. Plummer puts it perfectly. That's just disrespect. When the start menu starts showing sponsored apps, he says, you put a price on my attention on my machine. With Microsoft's push to monetize absolutely everything, it seems someone inside the company would need to fight really hard to steer Windows away from being a marketing machine. But Plummer says it would be worth it. He argues that trust is more valuable than any click-through metric. This is what people mean when they say Windows sucks. They're not complaining about the technical stuff under the hood. They detest the experience of being sold to by their own computer that they already paid for. And the ultimate irony? Microsoft just keeps proving Plummer's points. A perfect example just happened. Pavan Davuluri, a Microsoft president, recently posted on X, boasting that Windows is evolving into an agentic OS, connecting devices, cloud, and AI to unlock intelligent productivity and secure work anywhere. He invited people to an event to see what's next for the platform. Naturally, when he talks about connecting devices, cloud, and AI, he's talking about other Microsoft products. The sales pitch is strong. Davuluri probably expected a wave of excitement and praise. That is not what happened. Instead, his post was flooded with hundreds of angry and frustrated responses from longtime users. One person replied, "Here's a crazy idea, how about Mo? Just give us Windows 7 back. Clean UI, clean icon, a unified control panel, no bloat apps, no ads, just a pure performance OS." Another person pointed out, you can't even correctly implement small taskbar icons, which is something users actually want. You're getting overwhelmingly negative feedback about all this AI stuff, and yet you persevere. Why? And a third response really hit home for me. I've been a Windows user for greater than 35 years. This vision of the OS evolving isn't really something I want. Consider creating a robust, simple, lightweight, and distraction-free version and letting the customer decide. The feedback was brutal, and it directly reflects the frustrations Plummer was talking about. People don't want an agentic OS that works for Microsoft. They want a functional OS that works for them. Let's be real, past versions of Windows had their issues too. But at least they felt like a basic platform for running your apps and managing your files. That's what an operating system is supposed to be. Now, Windows has morphed into this bloated mess of a marketing tool. It's filled with promotions, ads, and updates that interrupt your work instead of helping it. So, does Windows really suck? Yeah, in some very important ways, it does. But here I am, still using it after all these years. Maybe it's like an old, comfortable shoe. It's got holes and it's falling apart, but it's familiar. And what's Dave Plummer's final take on it all? He asks, so does Windows suck? And he answers, only when it forgets who it's working for. Most of the time, it tries to work for everybody, and that's okay. But some days, it needs to work for the person who knows exactly what they want and is willing to take responsibility for their choices. His final message to Microsoft is powerful. Give that person a switch, give that person respect, and then get out of the way. And that really says it all. The problem isn't the technology, it's the philosophy. It's about respect for the user. What do you think? Have you been feeling this way about Windows too? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.